Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Soar Signal Lookout Station. This was built in 1794 as a lookout point overlooking the coastline, and there was a string of these buildings along the coast, from what I understand. And this, I believe, is the only standing one. It's situated on a public footpath across some arable land, and it's about a 10-minute walk from the car to here. Considering how easy it is actually to get here, this location does go quite a bit under the radar with photographers. But it's a beautiful little spot, and I've got a beautiful evening. I've got plenty of time to explore. My plan for this evening will be to set up some lights inside the building, as I did in my previous video. As you can see behind me, there is a door and a window. The door actually is grilled up, so I can't actually physically get myself into it, but there's an open window and the doorway there, which gives me the opportunity to position some lights in the building. It should bring the building to life, as the darkness descends in this area. Anything that would have been more fantastic is that the field did have bales in it. Until recently. I say till recently because at the opposite end of the field there's still bales there. Unfortunately, down this end of the field they've taken the bales away, which would have added an extra dimension to the photograph. So I'm a bit gutted I missed that. Perhaps if I'd come here last night instead, I would have been able to catch that. So what I usually do is get photo pills out so I can plan my composition. I will attempt to record that as I do it in a second, so we'll see how well that works out. I've not tried that before. If not, I'll include a screenshot just below of what I'm looking for, but ideally I probably want a composition, probably that sort of angle, the Milky Way to the left or above the tower. So that's really what I'm hoping for. So let's get the photo pills out and see what happens.
So what I've done is I've opened photo pills on my phone, I've hit the night AR button, and what I'm doing is I'm moving the time stamp on the top of the screen left and right to see where the Milky Way core would be at the time I need it to be to capture the Milky Way alongside the tower, which is what I'm hoping for.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you the composition I'm aiming for. Basically I want the tower on the sort of right third. Gives me loads of space on the left hand side there for the Milky Way core to stand. As you saw from my photo pill screenshot, it will be quite straight in the sky now as we're heading well into the second half of the Milky Way season here in the UK. I'm just going to check the focus. Hit the right button I will anyway. Zooming in on the bricks. Yep, that's looking nicely in focus. So you can now see that it's starting to get dark quite quickly here now, which is why I like to get here early. It gives me plenty of time to set up in peace. I don't like rushing. I'm a rushy person. Yes, it gives me plenty of time to get going. I brought my loom cube with me, so I'm going to position that in a second. Have a play around, see where I can get the best light, so I get a nice foreground shot with the light on the foreground balanced with the ambient light and the light coming from inside the building. So let's have a play with this. So you can see I've put my light inside the building, and look how much difference that makes to what will hopefully be my foreground shot very shortly. I do love the warm glow of the light. I will play with the settings of the camera and the light if I need to get the light exactly where I want it, but yeah, you can just imagine that in 1794 when this place was built, you know, a little stove in there, a little fire, somebody in there, warm glow of light coming out, looking out over what would have been a really dark sky back then, because there's no light pollution from buildings and boats out at sea. It would have been a pretty magical place to have spent the night. So I've started taking my test shots for my foreground. This is what I've got so far. Don't know why, but my phone always blows the highlights in the sky. Also worth checking that things look sharp. Last thing I want to do is get home and find that the foreground shot isn't remotely sharp. As you can see with that brickwork there, it's looking lovely and sharp. So I think, yeah, to be honest, that's probably my foreground shot done. I've done two now, two different exposures. So it gives me a bit of option to play with. What I don't want is the light inside to be too bright and overpowering, which is why I want to take it now so I can balance the foreground with the ambient light in the air with the light that's inside the building. I'm going to whisper because that is a bar now flying around. That is amazing. It's just flying over the edge. Here it comes. No, I'm not going to lie. Anyone who knows me knows that when you're standing around in the dark, it can be a scary place. And behind me, literally across behind me, ran a deer just a second ago, and it scared the absolute crap out of me. I might be 45, 6'2", big bloke, but I'm not afraid to admit that standing in the dark does scare the life out of me at times, particularly when wildlife does that to me. Okay, so I've got the polar alignment set up, turned the star tracker on. The most important thing for me to do now is not kick the tripod, because that means I'll have to go through this process all over again, which would be painful. Okay, so I started doing some tracked exposures. As you can see, there is a bit of cloud there. I have had to move the star tracker alongside the building just because the wind has picked up and I wasn't confident in being able to get a decent exposure tracked. At the moment I'm only doing 30-second exposures just because I'd rather get something that's a little bit noisy than nothing at all out tonight. That cloud that you saw in the picture is moving across, so that should disappear out my way fairly soon. So I'm just going to show you the latest tracked exposure I've taken, which is this one here. Probably going to call it a day at this because that Milky Way core is already starting to sink towards the horizon, and also you won't be able to see it in this, but there's a great big Wodger cloud coming from the left to the right, which is going to ruin the shots anyway. Yeah, if that is the best I've got for tonight, then yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That's some decent quality in there. I've taken some shots at varying different exposures as well, just to make sure that because the wind, as you probably hear, has been an issue. Make sure I've got something that's sharp out of this. Would have been great if it was a completely cloud-free shot, but that's the way it goes with astrophotography, I'm afraid. So I'm going to pack up and start heading back to the car. So as you've just seen, I've made it safely back to the car. I had a great evening down there. The wind was a challenge, as was the cloud. Never got completely clear skies, but that's astrophotography, unfortunately. I've got two choices. You can either go out and hope for the best, or you can stay at home and sit there frustrated when you look at social media in the morning and realise that it was completely clear and everyone else got the shots. I've got an hour's drive back to Paynton now, but yeah, it's been a fantastic evening. And if the final image ends up being any good, you'll see it now. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.
Here is the final image. I'm very pleased how this came out. The air glow on the night was fantastic and the sky really was that green. The foreground was 10 seconds, f6.3, ISO 250, and the sky was tracked 60 seconds, f2.8, ISO 800. The camera used was a Nikon D850 and the lens was a Nikon 14-24 f2.8. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to see more content from myself in the future. Thanks for watching, take care, bye bye.